Gentlemen, this meeting of Baltimore County Landmarks Preservation Commission is now in session. Please note the meeting is being audio recorded. My name is Phoebe Evans-Latosha, Chair of the Commission, and I will be running tonight's meeting. We are your volunteer representatives appointed by our county councilperson or county executive and entrusted to monitor renovations and additions to our Baltimore County historic resources. The LPC reviews and approves nominations to the Baltimore County Preliminary Landmarks List, comments on National Register nominations, reviews all exterior alterations within county historic districts, and is charged with evaluating Baltimore County historic tax credit applications. Would the commissioners please introduce themselves by name and county council district or representation? We can go in the order listed on the PowerPoint screen. And when Raquel introduced herself, if she could just briefly provide some additional background. So starting with Lily.
Hi, this is Lily, District 1.
And Chris Weston's not here, so Wendy?
Wendy McIver, District 3.
Hello, everybody. Ted McCadden, representing District 4.
Yes, not here yet.
Okay, John?
John Holman, District 6.
Okay, that looks like Jamie is not on either. So now Raquel.
Hi, I'm Raquel Meneses. I am the planning board representative. I was appointed to the planning board by the executive office, and I actually live in District 5. Background wise, I was born in Sinai, grew up in Roland Park, spent the first 26 years of my life in Baltimore, then moved to Montreal for residency, practiced neurosurgery in Northern California and also Southern California, then had a family and decided to move back to East Coast family. And now I'm a retired neurosurgeon and doing this kind of stuff as well as raising my family. So,
well, welcome. Thank you for being here. So Ed, you can go next. Ed, are you able to introduce yourself?
I think he's still muted.
Yeah, I see that. Well, then we will skip ahead to Vince.
I'm Ed Horde.
Okay.
Executive appointment. Sorry.
Nice to hear from you.
Okay.
Okay, it looks like Vince is not here. So then Chris, and it looked like also then Chris Weston. So we'll do both Chris's.
Chris Parts, executive appointment.
Chris Weston, District 2.
Okay, thank you. Now, if we could please stand as we recite the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. The Landmarks Preservation Commission operates under the authority, standards, and requirements of Title VII, Article 32 of the Baltimore County Code. We refer to the United States Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation as administered by the National Park Service. This is the accepted national standard for historic preservation projects. Our own Baltimore County Historic Preservation Guidelines directly reference and incorporate the Secretary of the Interior standards for rehabilitation. We have important preservation issues to discuss and debate at each meeting. If you would like to make comments, please limit your comments to the specific application or proposal submission being reviewed. We ask for your assistance in understanding so that the discussions do not digress. As an additional comment, we can all agree that historic preservation is an important aspect of the quality of life and place that makes Baltimore County unique. As commissioners, we serve on the commission due to our expertise, interest, and passion for historic buildings and places, and we review submissions based solely on their merit. While we may disagree in discussion and voting, we continue to be a collegial body that respects each other, both personally and professionally. Would staff please provide us with our virtual meeting reminders?
Sure. So for offering testimony, members of the public had the opportunity to sign up to speak or submit written testimony to staff in advance. When it's your case that's in front of us, at the appropriate time, staff will unmute you and announce you by name. Owners and applicants do not have to sign up, and they have unlimited time. Members of the public will have 3 minutes to address the commission. And also just a reminder that the information within this PowerPoint is purely a summary. Commissioners receive all the application materials 1 week prior to the meeting in order to prepare. So information that you see here on the screen is just summary. Again, it's just going to keep us keep the meeting moving in an organized manner.
Okay, are there any changes to today's agenda?
No changes.
Okay, thank you. I will now call for any proposed changes to the minutes from the May 8th, 2025 meeting. And if there are no changes, then I would be open to a motion to approve the minutes.
Motion to approve.
Thank you, John.
I'll second.
Thank you. So we can have a voice vote. All in favor?
Aye.
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 Any opposed?
Aye.
Great, the minutes are approved. Okay, moving on to the consent agenda items. So these are numbers 4, 5, 9, 12, and 13. And staff, if you could read the, present the consent items.
Great, thank you, Phoebe. So first we have the Shea property at 208 Melochthon Avenue in Lutherville within County Council District 3. This is a non-contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District, and the applicants have requested siding replacements to the main house and garage and window and door trim installations, as well as a ridge vent installation. Next, we have the Ash Maislick property at 201 Morris Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District, and the applicants are seeking review for the ex post facto installation of an in-kind picket fence replacement. Next is the Beverly property at 16202 Corbett Village Lane in Moncton, County Council District number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Corbett County Historic District, and the applicants are requesting to remove the existing rear shed and replace with a similar structure. And next we have the Gutierrez Ketchen property at 3605 Fieldstone Road in Randallstown, County Council District number 4. This is a contributing resource within the Fieldstone County Historic District, and the applicants request a rear yard shed installation. And finally, we have the Alms House and Pest House, which is a Baltimore County property at 9811 Van Buren Lane in Cockeysville, County Council District number 3. This is final landmark list number 45. Again, county home property, Alms House and Pest House, and it has an easement placed by the Maryland Historical Trust on the Pest House, and the applicants propose the in-kind repairs and replacements to a rear porch, step, and railing. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there anyone present who wishes to speak against the approval of any of the consent agenda items? Or are there any members of the commission who wish to have a discussion on the item before we vote, or to pull any of the items from the consent agenda? Hearing none, then I would entertain a motion to approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
I move that we approve the consent agenda items as submitted.
Was there a second?
Second. Oh,
Thank you.
Lots of
So
seconds.
we'll let Wendy get credit for the second then. So then let's have a voice vote on the consent agenda items.
So Phoebe, I believe we do a roll call for consent
I'm
agenda.
sorry, I was reading the thing, it said voice vote. You're right. Yes, we
Yeah,
do do a
no
roll call.
worries. Yeah, can we have Wendy, please?
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Raquel,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Tom, Tom, I believe you're muted.
Sorry, yes.
Great, thank you. Chris Weston,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you.
Okay, so the motions all pass. So now moving on to the items for discussion. So the first one is agenda item number 6, the cost of property. If staff could provide the background information on this.
Hey, thanks, Phoebe. So Costa Property is located at 16223 Corbett Village Lane in Moncton, County Council District Number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Corbett County Historic District, and the applicants have returned for a new proposal for their rear addition and driveway reconfiguration. So as a reminder, the property is a 2-story gable roof frame house constructed in 1890 in the vernacular folk Victorian style. It has previously been altered on the rear with 2 early to mid 20th century additions, a 1-story shed addition on the east side and a 2-story addition on the west side. Additionally, there is a small 1-bay addition construction on the top of the 1st-story addition that connects to the 2-story addition. The applicants came before the commission at last month's meeting, which would be May 8th. The commission voted not to approve the request. The commission overall appreciated the approach to the design of the addition, but felt that more was needed to help differentiate the addition from the main house by lowering the roof and increase the building line setback. The applicant has returned with updated designs, and the work will include removing the existing rear additions. Discussions at the May 8th meeting determined that the 1920 addition had been extensively altered and its form did not really respect the design of the main house. So the new addition now will be set back 2 feet, previously from 1 foot from the main house on both sides to differentiate the old from the new and to keep the addition behind the main house. The addition's roof will intersect 2 feet below the existing roof height of the existing ridge instead of at the roof line. The roof will be a lower sloped roof with a wide shed dormer on the sides and rear. On the east side elevation, there will be a small entry porch. The side entry door will be a half glaze and paneled single leaf door. On the rear elevation, there will be a 2-story deck or balcony. A set of 2 double leaf wood doors, 3/4 glaze will be located on the 1st floor, and 2 single leaf doors of the same style will be on the 2nd floor. In addition, there will be an exterior brick chimney centered on the rear elevation. So the proposed materials include a asphalt shingle roof for the addition. Siding will be a smooth finish hardy board at 5-inch exposure. The fascia rake, frise corner posts, and soffits will match the main house, but be in AZEK material. Windows will be double hung, simulated divided lights, fiberglass exterior, wood interior 2/2 style to match the main house. And additionally, the applicant is requesting to reorient a portion of the existing driveway to accommodate the addition. A portion of the current gravel driveway extends north along the west property line behind the house. That portion will be removed and a new driveway of CR6 gravel or similar will be installed along the east side of the house and extend to access the relocated 2-car garage. Staff would like to note that the location of the addition meets our design guidelines. It is located on the rear elevation that has been previously altered by 2 20th century additions. At the request of the commission, the revised plans reduce the roof ridge height by 2 feet below the existing, the main house roof, and the hyphen has been recessed from the previously proposed 1 foot to 2 feet. While the footprint is not smaller than the main house, the proposed size and scale is not overpowering, and the simple design is visually compatible with the vernacular style of the historic home. The addition is set behind the main structure to help diminish the addition and make the main house be the primary focus. The rear L is a typical location and design of additions to these types of houses. Staff feels that the revised addition sufficiently meets our guidelines and asks the commission to discuss.
Okay, thank you. Is the applicant present and would they like to add anything to what the staff presented?
So I believe, Phoebe, we will first say how we receive testimony and we have our
Okay.
speakers, and then we go into discussion and statement from the applicants.
Okay, that's a different order than what's on my cheat sheet, but okay. So first asking for,
Yeah. So Caitlin, can we advance the slide to the commission's actions? Great, thank you. So we.
okay, yes, so
Sorry, so it looks like this slide is an older version, but staff did receive written testimony from several Corbett residents, including Mr. Jeremy Altman, Miss Susan White, I'm sorry, Susan Patricia White, Miss Kathy Yoakum, and Mr. John McFarland. And we have 3 registered speakers, which will be Mr. Andrew Clemens, Miss Christina Altman, and Miss Barbara McFarland. So if we could have the timer up, then can introduce our first speaker. Okay. So Mr. Clemens, I have the request sent for you to unmute, and you can address the commission whenever you're ready.
Good evening. At the last LPC meeting in May, there was a discussion about the Costa plan to demolish the old rear addition on the house in order to facilitate their proposed addition. The addition on the rear of the house is at least 71 years old because it was there when my parents bought the house in 1954. It is historic by both Maryland Historical Trust standards and National Register standards. The addition is missing the original windows, as LPC members have noted, but those windows were present when Mr. Costa bought the house from my mother. Mr. Costa replaced them with modern windows without any guidance from the LPC. It would be ironic if the LPC allowed the removal of this addition, which is recognized as historic by both the Maryland Trust and the National Trust, because it does not have the windows that Mr. Costa illegally removed. There are several houses in the neighborhood that have additions that were approved by the LPC, but none of those additions have involved the removal of so much of the original house. Also, the additions that were allowed are not 3 times as large as the addition that is proposed for this structure. In the introduction to your guidelines booklet, it states, and I quote, "These guidelines are regulatory for structures listed on the preliminary or final landmarks list and for contributing and non-contributing structures. The language and the intent are clear. These guidelines are regulations for county landmarks list. This proposed addition removes a significant historical and architectural materials. It's not reversible. The size is not compatible with the historic structure. The addition is not visually subordinate to the historic structure, and the footprint size is not smaller than the historic structure. Thus, this plan violates regulations 3, 4, 5, 6, and 7. All one has to do is look at drawings A3 and A4 to see this. The planned addition does not fit with the character of the Corbett Historic District, nor with the size, and should be sent back for further adjustment.
Great, thank you, Mr. Clemens. Next, we have Ms. Christina Altman, and Ms. Altman will be referencing photos that were submitted in written testimony previously by Mr. Jeremy Altman. All right, Ms. Altman, you can address the commission whenever you're ready. I've sent the request to unmute.
The house in question was built by Heinrich Stutzka. He was born in Germany 1842 and immigrated in 1873 in his early 30s. He worked as a railroad worker at least since 1880. Henry's son Frederick was also a railroad worker and lived in Corbett for many years. They spent most of their lives building new infrastructure for this country. At age over 70, Henry had been out of his railroad work for only 6 weeks that year. He lived in his house until his German-born wife Susanna died in 1918. The house was then bought by Winfield Shepherd. He was a farmer and a son of a Moncton farmer. This household belonged to 14-year-old boy Wilbur Jones, who in the census has been marked to be a mulatto, a hired boy, and a farm lady. At the turn of the century, there was a substantial German immigrant population in our area, to the point that their local news was published in their Deutsche Correspondent. A significant proportion of early Corbett villagers were also railroad workers or farmers. Many farmhands were African American. These people, a German immigrant couple, a railroad worker, a farmer, and a 14-year-old black hired boy, are the very fabric of the early Corbett village and its inhabitants. For our community, they are the important persons, as a term that the National Register of Historic Places uses, and real heroes in their hard work. Henry Stutzka and Winfield Shepherd built the house and modified it. Quoting the guideline book, most properties change over time. Those changes that have acquired historic significance in their own right will be retained and preserved. A person may not remove any exterior architectural feature in any county historic district. Jeremy Altman has sent written testimony, which hopefully all commissioners have seen. It shows the house in 1954, 71 years ago, with the very addition. Then in 1970s, when there are no 1970s windows. The original windows were removed by the Costas after they bought the house and they installed the big windows. They are now expecting to be rewarded for their illegal work and get a permission to destroy even more of the historic structure. If the LPC lets the Costas destroy a historical part of a building belonging to our village, that sets a very dangerous example. Now anybody could just do clandestine modification to windows and then state like Nate Costa, I don't see anything historic in it. Quoting the guideline book, the new work shall be compatible with massing, size and scale to protect the historic integrity of its environment. This plan does not fulfill the guideline criteria. Title 7 of the Baltimore County Code, per what the guideline book states, requires the LPC to base its decisions on adopted guidelines. I hope that will be the case for this meeting.
Great, thank you, Ms. Altman. Next, our final speaker is Ms. Barbara McFarland. Ms. McFarland, I have sent the unmute request.
Okay. Thank you. At last month's meeting, I expressed my general support for the Costa's new addition, but with some reservations. I appreciated their efforts to keep most of the new construction behind the house, protecting the historic view from Corbett Village Lane. I also supported the relocation of the driveway to the eastern side of the property to preserve the massive oak tree on the west side. I fully support the newest changes made by the Costas to differentiate the new addition from the historic home by lowering the roof line and further indenting the hyphen. However, two concerns remain. The first is the roofing material for the addition. The original house and the proposed garage have standing seam metal roofs, but the proposed addition has a shingle roof. Appending a shingle roof to the existing metal roof is aesthetically jarring. Moreover, deviating from the roof material of the historic home when constructing an addition is inconsistent with the practice followed in every home addition in Corbett. My second concern is the destruction of the 1918 addition. At the May meeting, the commissioners concluded that this addition is not historically significant because none of its original elements remained. What the commission did not know is that the reason these elements are missing is because the Costas removed or altered them without LPC approval or review. They removed the original windows and added the picture window and several modern windows. They also obscured its original stone foundation by building a concrete wall against it, and they modified its porch by replacing the steps and decking. This information could have been clarified at the last meeting had the LPC asked Andrew Clemens, who was in attendance virtually throughout the entire meeting, to give his insights. He lived in the house himself and has researched and published a book on the history of Corbett. I don't know if this information would have affected the commissioner's decision on the historic value of the structure, but I do believe that it should have been known and discussed. I hope that the commission will allow Mr. Clemens to address any issues and confusions that arise at tonight's meeting. Thank you for your continued effort to protect the historic landmarks of Baltimore County.
Great, thank you, Ms. McFarland. That concludes our registered speakers for tonight's meeting.
Okay, so I think now that means that we can turn to the applicant, if the applicant is present and if they would like to add anything to what the staff presented or answer any questions from the LPC.
Yeah, Mr. Costa, I have sent the unmute.
Thank you. Yeah, just not much to add, honestly, just the last meeting, all the feedback that we received. I feel like we went back and lowered the roof, made the footprint smaller by making the indent 2 feet. And then that in here make the square footage smaller. So I guess I would just welcome any of the other thoughts in regards to the design and the layout, and really appreciate all the help and feedback that we got to get to this point.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Costa. Do any of the commissioners have any clarifying questions for the applicant?
I do. I guess I do.
Okay, Daniel, thank you.
Yeah, and it might be more staff oriented as well, but were these changes that are being brought up with the testimony, were they made before or after the area became a landmark status? I think that's kind of the key things, because from the last meeting, if we were unaware of this, I mean, that really does play into decision making. Were these changes made without LPC approval, or were they made prior to being listed with status?
So for this project right now, we can't really speak too much on the window replacements because it's not part of this current proposal, and you guys are only allowed to speak on the current proposal, and it would be difficult for us to talk about those window replacements because staff has not done their own research into it to determine, and we weren't, don't know how long they've been there, and code enforcement, and we weren't alerted. So again, it's something we can't really address because we don't have enough information, and it's not part of this proposal.
Caitlin, can you address when Corbett Village was made a county landmark?
It was in the county historic district. It was in the 80s, so it appears that these would have been made after it was
okay, thank you.
a historic district.
And the period of significance for the Corbett Village Lane?
Ends, I believe, just right before right before World War One. So, or right when it ended. So, 1918-ish.
Yeah, I believe it's around 1830 to 60 to 1918, around then.
Okay, thank you.
Mhm.
Other commissioners have questions for clarification?
I have a question. Has the garage, whatever we decided, has that all been done?
Wendy, that's outside of the scope of this particular application, since that's not part of what we're reviewing today.
Well, what I want to ask is, I understand that project has to be finished before you can propose another project before the LPC. And no one's said anything about that.
Sure,
So it does
Wendy.
have a
So
bearing on it.
they did receive approval from the commission to move forward with the last design for the alterations to the
Yeah, but
garage.
has it been done?
It is in the process of being worked on. It's not preventing them from getting any proposals in front of the commission. They just would not be allowed to get a building permit for the addition until the code enforcement violation on the garage is cleared out or closed out.
And so that has not been completed, is that correct?
It is not completed, but it's in the process.
Okay, I just thought we needed to do one thing at a time.
Are there any other commissioner clarifying questions particularly for the applicant?
I just want to clarify that it's my understanding that the addition is built after the period of significance. Therefore, what importance does it have? I mean, I understand it's historic, but it's not part of the period of significance. So as a group, are we or are we not trying to protect this thing?
Actually, I'm under the impression that the historic photo that was provided, I guess, shows the addition in 1954, and with the historic windows, and the description of the Corbett Village includes simple iHouse plans with like L-shaped additions with shingle simple roof. I'm sorry, shed roofs. So it kind of fits that description of that being, maybe an early kitchen, or subsidiary volume to the main house. So I do think that we looked at, currently we looked at, in the last meeting, we looked at the rear with the changed windows as having lost its character. But I wish we would have had that information on how it was in the, when the Costas bought it, because it's really, I just feel like we're not given all the information early on about what changes occurred at this house right before this application.
My point is, if the period of significance ended in 1918 or 1920, then we don't really care about anything else that happened after that. It's not contributing to the architectural value of the community.
I agree with you, Chris.
I agree.
I don't feel like the 54 edition, clearly it had not gone through a landmark preservation process, because the landmark preservation wasn't around at the time. So I'm not sure it was done up to the standards we might expect today.
But it was altered when it did have landmark status without LPC approval, the windows.
That's not what's before us right now.
Yeah,
Right.
I'm unclear on that controversy, Wendy, and I feel like that's if our intent, then following that logic, we would be saying put the windows back and forget about everything else. But we're really talking about, can we take out this 1954 edition that to my eye, and I'm not.
It's 1920 edition.
It sounds like there are multiple editions on the back, like in various phases, starting in 1918, 1920.
Yeah, there are two, but the big one, my understanding was 54, and I don't.
No,
think,
the photograph that was shared was from the 50s.
Okay.
But, yeah.
Anyway, I agree with Chris. I don't think there's high value to protecting that.
I'll chime in that I'm with Chris and John on the issue.
And no one questions the shingled roof instead of the metal.
I see a lot of homes that have both shingle and metal in historic areas. I don't feel like that's that uncommon.
I think it also allows you to visually distinguish existing from new in a way that still doesn't feel inappropriate or weird.
I agree with Tom. I think that's, to me, well, one thing I'm not seeing is it's showing, looking at the picture that's on the screen right now, the rendering, it shows an asphalt shingle roof on the back face of the main roof, and that ought to be left as the metal roof.
I thought our packet included that the back of the main house did still have the metal roof.
I believe they've told us it did, but
I remember in the packet it having that too. So I would ask the commissioners to look back at that rather than relying upon the slide. It's possible that staff, didn't update the slide picture from this particular slide.
The back of the original house does have the metal roof.
Yeah, but I think in the
drawing
packet, in the drawing that we received in our latest packet, I
It reads
remember
as shingle.
it was well, on the back side of it, there was still the standing seam metal roof. So I think this picture is not the latest picture.
And if it is, then we should have that, the back part of the roof should be metal.
Yeah.
Yes.
Should remain metal.
Yeah, we could always make that a requirement.
And I don't mind the new roof being a different, the asphalt shingle distinguishes it from, it's clearly the addition, and the metal roof is clearly the original house.
Yeah, I apologize, folks. This is from the previous slide, but in the materials that were distributed, I just checked it as shown as metal standing seam.
Yeah, thank you for confirming that. I know that came up. That was a question for me too, and I made a point to look for that. Are there other commissioner comments or questions, particularly for Mr. Costa? If not, if no further discussion, I would entertain a motion, or did someone else want to?
I was just going to say, I move that we approve the addition as proposed, revised from the original submission.
I'll second Chris Weston.
Thank you, Chris and Chris. Is there any further discussion? If not, then let's go ahead for a roll call vote.
All right, could we have Wendy, please?
No.
Ted?
No.
John?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Lily?
No.
Raquel,
Yes.
Chris Parts,
Yes.
Tom,
Tom, you're muted.
Sorry, yes.
thank you. Chris Weston, please.
Yes.
Dan, please.
No.
And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Thank you. All right, we have 7 affirmative and 4 dissenting votes. So Caitlin, does the motion carry?
Yes, we have 7. We need 7 in the affirmative for a motion to carry.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Thank you. Then let's move on to the next agenda item, number 7.
Great. All right. Next, we have the Glendon Bank Romay property at 4817 Butler Road in Glendon, County Council District Number 4. This is a non-contributing resource within the Glendon County Historic District, and the applicants are requesting the review of a rear addition construction. So the property is a 2-story brick building that historically served as the Glendon community as a bank and now serves the community as a dental office. The structure was constructed in 1931 in the colonial revival style. While it may be considered non-contributing, it is still part of the fabric of Glendon. Alterations to non-contributing structures, including additions, create an opportunity to enhance the existing historic district's character and aesthetics. Our guidelines state that non-contributing resources should follow the same guidelines for additions as new construction. Alterations that make practical and aesthetic sense that may be contrary to specific guidelines are welcome when they uphold the overall intent of the guidelines. The applicant is requesting to construct a 1-story addition with a raised foundation on the rear south elevation. Overall, the addition will have an L-shaped footprint with a width of 34 feet that extends 20 feet on the east side and 28 feet on the west side. The addition will be set back from the main building line on the east side with a new covered side entry tucked behind the main structure. The side entry shed roof will be covered in standing seam, and the addition will have a parapeted flat roof to be covered in EDPM rubber roofing. The addition is proposed to have hard siding with a smooth texture. The windows will be wood-clad, double-hung 1/1. Trim will be true exterior Pro Westlake. And overall, staff feels that design is compatible with the existing structure in design and scale. Staff encourages the commission to discuss the design and determine if it meets our guidelines. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 6, New Construction, Additions, and Non-Contributing Structures, County Code Section 32-7-405. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. Is there any testimony or speakers?
Sure. So we did not receive any written testimony for this property, nor any registered speakers, but we do have the property owner, Miss Leah Romay, and the project representatives, Mr. Matt Swift, with us tonight. So Miss Romay and Mr. Swift, I have requested you to unmute if there's anything you'd like to say. Oh, and we also have Mr. David Stufen.
Hi there, this is Dr. May. I own the practice. It's a dental practice, and I'd like to add this addition because I am looking for a little more clinical space. Many of my patients reside in Glendon, and I'm trying to maintain the character of the building. That's why I enlisted David Sutphin for the design, because he does work with a lot of historic buildings, older buildings. So I feel like we're trying our best to make it match. So that's really what I have to say.
Okay, thank you. And do any of the other representatives have anything to add?
No.
Okay, so then I would ask the commissioners if they have any clarifying questions for the applicant.
I have a question. How far are you setting back the new addition from the existing building?
Let's see.
How far back does it go? I think she said that in the
No,
beginning. It was,
no, I'm asking how far are you offsetting the rear walls from the new walls?
I
The
caught
old
that
walls
too,
and
Ed.
the new walls.
No dimensions given there. It looks
Yeah.
like it's maybe 6 inches, but no dimensions given.
it's more like 12.
So 1 foot,
Yes.
and that is that on both sides?
The other side has a handicap elevator, which comes fairly close. Once 6 to 8 inches, probably, maybe 10, depending on, how things go when we get there.
So that elevator, that elevated platform, where's that opening to? To the back or to the side?
As of now, it's supposed to open to the side where the driveway is.
Okay. So do you need a ramp? I guess there's a ramp shown, but it doesn't seem to be coordinated with where the elevator is going to be. So I'm concerned that there's not enough setback on that side at all, and it will include the railing of the ramp and it's not really shown in the drawings.
Yeah,
There is not going to be a ramp. Sorry, Matt, go ahead.
There's a ramp drawn on the plan. That's why I was asking.
I think it's a sidewalk.
It says ramp, I believe.
Yeah, it's got a bunch of arrows indicating it's a ramp. Yeah.
Okay. Can you put the other picture back up of the drawing? Okay, where is the ramp? I don't see it on this drawing.
It's on the
site plan. On the site plan.
I don't see what you guys are talking about. We were going to do a ramp, but it's back there, so we took the ramp out and we're going to do the elevator instead. And then it comes to that.
What I'm seeing is a slope in the site section in the upper right-hand drawing there that could calculate out as a ramp, but I'm reading that not as a separate structure, but it's the grade rising up to what I'm assuming the kind of shed roof box between the old and new is that accessible elevator lift.
I think it's a really bad idea to have the entrance for the accessible elevator opening out to the driveway. I mean, it just seems like a bad idea to have someone in a wheelchair or someone that needs the use of the lift to have to be standing in the middle of a drive. When you have a ramp you have something on the side, and that could come up any dimension. I think that's a really bad idea.
So what about we put the entrance turn like the other from the back view, if the doorway's right there.
That would be much better.
We can do that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is in line with maybe setting back both sides a little more than what you're currently showing.
Can we go to the top view drawing of the floor plan? So the issue, and I hear you, but the problem is that it's clinical treatment rooms, and I'm really like, these are the smallest room I could make the room to fit a dental chair. And so you can see in the main part, there's that hallway, and there's 1, 2, 3 clinical rooms, and then that hall continues. Like when you're inside the building, that's going to be one continuous hallway. If we constrict that addition more, then I'm not going to be able to have a continuous hallway And then the treatment rooms are going to be too small. I can't fit the dental chair and have patients actually be able to fit in there, or if they are in a wheelchair, they're not going to be able to enter. And those treatment rooms in the back are bigger because those are like the doctor rooms, and the ones in the front part are going to be hygienist rooms. They don't have as much equipment. So this is the problem. You know, if it was like bedroom or like a home office, whatever, but I'm limited by my equipment.
I think you need to step it back and figure out a way to do it. I think you can do it.
How would you propose me to make that room that's labeled for, you know, like if I have a dental chair in there and now it's over a foot smaller,
Well, I
how
don't
do
think
I?
it's going to be a foot. Right now, we're told it's a foot, and I'm thinking it should be 18 inches. So you need to, I would shift it, and maybe the hallway jogs a bit. Maybe
And the
there's
entrance
another
is
way
to
to do
those.
it. I can't solve it for you, but I know there's a solution.
Could
You've got the square footage back there to do it.
Could the entrances to those exam rooms go off the hallway rather than this, you know, the main straight shot hallway?
They are off of that main hallway.
So another thing we could look into is, you know, I think the elevators work where the doors are front and back. I can check with the company to see if the doors could be on the back side and the side that they are now, where we would be coming in and out of the back there. I'm not exactly sure if that's even possible, but that would eliminate going out into the driveway.
It is possible. It would just require you to have a larger cab so that you could spin 90 degrees inside the cab.
But
Which
it
makes it
seems like the
wider.
location of it is also an issue right now. So, I mean, you might want to look at just putting that elsewhere and allowing you
We
to.
could put it on the front of the building, but that's not going to look so good because then there's the like the historic steps. That's the problem.
How about the very
Right
No,
back?
in the back.
Exactly.
In the back.
Well,
The back.
so the problem is if they come in the very back, my staff's not going to be able to see them, know that they're there. This, where they come in, there's going to be a staff member sitting right there to check them in. I don't want people entering all the way in the back of the building. They sometimes need assistance. And so that's like kind of not great from a standpoint of like also from a HIPAA standpoint. I just can't have people entering the building and we not knowing where they are, wandering through the back of the clinic. Like they could.
I see a
That's
solution,
not okay.
but I'm not going to design it for you, but I see a reasonable solution. I think if you came in from the back side, if you move the elevator forward, the width of the space that you need for meeting ADA requirements, to move it forward that much, then you could enter it from the back and come into a vestibule that was at that point.
What do you mean by move it forward?
Move the elevator on this drawing that we see, move it
Yeah.
to the rear, to the top of the drawing, towards the top of the drawing, enough so that you have a vestibule that when you come out of the elevator, you're in a vestibule that's right at that point.
Okay.
That's
If you
perfect.
move it forward a little, move it up on the plan, then
Okay.
you might have room to jog just the vestibule part back the 18 inches that we're asking for. I think I see a solution there. I think you can do it. It's not a.
I'm not following. Are we on the
I'm
same
not
side?
following.
I'm not trying
Leah,
to
I think
design
it
this
would,
for you. I'm not trying to design this for you. I see a solution. You can do it. Move the elevator forward. It's one way to do it, but I'm not saying that's the only way to do it. There's another, I'm sure you have a good designer,
Leah,
they'll figure it out. But
Leah, I
we
think you,
need an offset. There's plenty of square footage back there. I know you can make it work.
Okay, it sounds like the commissioners have reached some consensus that there's concern about the offset and the elevator placement. It sounds like we are, kind of moving toward asking the applicant to come back to us with some revised plans.
I
So
have one question real
Okay,
quick before we go too far.
great.
So you keep saying move it forward. That would be towards the front of the, are you saying move it
I said
backward?
move it towards the top of the drawing.
Yeah,
Okay.
plan north. Plan north.
Gotcha.
Mm-hmm.
So, but still on that side, we want to do what you guys will approve. So any guidance, like, are you talking about leaving it on that side or putting it around the back side?
I think there's a way to do it there. I'm not designing this for you. I
Can we
don't have
just
all the
confirm?
dimensions.
Well, if you're
Yeah,
not
can we just
designing it,
confirm what
how
we
come
are
you're
asking?
contributing to the design? Yeah.
Okay, just let me put it this way. We want 18 inches each side setback.
Okay.
That's it. And you figure it out. I
Okay,
see a way to
and
do
I'm
it.
gonna put it
I
this
can do
way,
it.
that I'm not gonna make my hallway jog in the middle, because if I have a patient in a wheelchair, how am I gonna zig them? Like, tell me how that's gonna work if that hallway
I'm not
zigs.
designing it for you. There's enough square footage
Ed,
back there to make it.
please, I'm just trying to make this flow for patients.
I'm trying to
and I have
simplify it. Let's
a amount
just
of
say,
space to work with. My equipment is so big, like these chairs, I have the smallest ones on the market. There's a length to them, and I have to be able to sit behind the patient and work. And like, we're debating over 2 inches here. A couple
no,
of
we're
inches,
talking about
18
6
versus
inches
12,
each side.
the 6 inches. 6 inches, but that makes a difference when you're talking about an already small room. Like, this is the smallest room you can possibly fit it in.
I
So
think your
I'm
designer can
gonna
make,
come back and I'm gonna tell you that I can't do what you want.
you can't do what I want if you do leave everything exactly the same as it is. I do see a solution, and I think your designer sounds good, and I think they're capable of rethinking this a little bit and finding a solution to it.
So may I
Leah,
suggest, may I suggest?
can you hear me, Leah?
Yeah, I can hear you. I can hear you.
I'd like to make a motion that we ask the applicant to consider the suggestions of the board and come back to us at the July meeting and give it an honest try, see what you can come up with, and let's see where we are at that point. And
So-
that's my motion.
So John, in terms of just a point of parliamentary procedure, we can either approve or.
Right, I'm sorry. My first part of it is we deny.
Thank you.
Deny the request with the suggestion.
As submitted.
And what our requirement is, it's nothing about anything else of the design. The design is up to them. We want 18 inches setback for all new construction from the old construction in the back. That's my motion.
You're going to
So-
lose that
so
one
could they
office.
make a height- point of parliamentary procedure. So John started a motion and Ed as chair. Excuse me,
I'd
I'm
like to
chair.
amend it.
Yeah, so John started the motion, Ed interrupted and added an additional motion. So it's really John's motion first.
It's John's motion.
Yeah, so
Well-
John, if you could articulate your motion, maybe
my
incorporate
motion-
Ed's suggestions, that's fine.
Well, not just Ed's, I think there are other members of the commission who have some similar concerns that need to be addressed. So my motion, again, and which was about to die for lack of a second, but I'll give it another run here, is that we deny the application today with the suggestion, the request, that the applicants come back to us next month after giving an honest try to incorporate the design suggestions of the board, that they want a little deeper inset. So that's my motion.
Okay, that sounds great. We have the designer here with us, so he may have some questions. And is that the only thing you guys have a problem with? Because if there's other issues, we'd like to resolve them now, or at least attempt to by the next meeting.
So as chair, I will say what I heard was that there was concern about the setback and some suggestion of an 18-inch setback on both sides. And there was also some concern about the placement of the elevator.
We don't have any purview
What's
over ADA. I think the concern is that the addition is not well differentiated from the historic building.
And that gets into the setbacks.
Yeah, not to put too fine a point on it, but we still don't have a second. So
But that's okay.
And that'll compromise everything, Leo.
Can I also add that we would like to see if there is a railing, what material that is, or a drawing of it at that rear step going up
into the
That's
elevator.
going down.
Those are steps going
or
down to a
down.
basement.
Okay. Okay.
Yeah.
So there's no just to understand. I don't know if there is or is not a ramp with any railing, and I was just suggesting if there will be, we would like to see an elevation of it and the materials.
Sure.
Sure.
Phoebe, I may be alone in this, but recognizing that the west elevation of this building is prominently visible as you're entering the Glendon Historic District, and the proposal also more than doubles the visible footprint from that elevation, I'm concerned honestly about the overall size and how it impacts the historic feel of the building.
And I have a question too. When you guys approved the building next to it that has a Subway and a pizza and has vinyl siding all over it,
That's not part of the historic district.
That's not
commercial.
part of the historic district.
It's not
Okay.
within the historic district.
Gotcha.
There's just going to be a lot of compromises, Leah. I know we worked hard to try to give you 2 exam rooms, a lab, 2 extra offices, out basement egress. And if it was just a matter of switching the entrance to the chairlift, that would be fairly simple. But this 18 inches on each side is going to compromise one of the offices and your exam space. I'm sure your lab space can afford the 6 inches, but we're trying to we're trying to go through the hallway lines up with an existing window, which economically makes it perfect to line up the hallway. So the jog is going to also, can it be done? I'm sure it can, but
these discussions, yeah, these are discussions you can have offline rather than
I know.
of our meeting.
I guess I just want you guys to understand where I'm coming from. It's like I'm trying really hard to make it fit what you want. I get what you want. I really do. I really do. I just am very limited by the actual space because this property is tiny. The building square footage is small. And dental equipment is big. And like, if I didn't need those ops those big, I wouldn't make them that big. But these are like the tiniest dental ops ever.
Everything
like
is compressed.
Most dental offices have way bigger ops than this. So I'm trying really hard to work with what I have. So for you guys to give me like such a hard time over 18 inches versus 12 feels petty. But like we'll do a redesign, but it's what's the point of me building an addition to add on 2 ops? You got to think about it from my standpoint. Like that doesn't make sense.
So I would suggest what Commissioner Horde suggested is there is an answer in there somewhere. Once again, we're not going to design this for you, but if you were to slide the elevator up and make the southern approach on that into, we're designing after all, but no, I think there's a solution there where you can get the offsets. And if you can't get to 18, can you give us 16? I mean, let's sort of talk about the good faith effort.
I hear you, but I can't have that elevator enter into a treatment operatory. That's not
We're
a
not
hallway.
asking you to do that. We are,
Madam Chair, may I call the question?
Yeah, thank you, John. I think we're ready to vote on this matter. That we've provided the feedback we're going to able to provide now, and that if you can always go to staff with additional questions, comments before it comes before the next LPC meeting. So staff, if you could call the roll call vote. So
Just a reminder,
yeah, yeah,
yes.
John, you want to repeat the motion so that we remember
well,
what we're voting on? So
Yeah, I just want to make clear to the commissioners, a yes vote is deferring approval.
To deny.
Is a denial. So, and then they'll come back in July.
Hey, John.
All right, could we have Wendy, please?
Yes.
Ted?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Ed?
Yes.
Lily?
Yes.
Raquel?
Yes.
Chris Parts?
Yes.
Tom?
Yes.
Chris Weston?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you. And Dr. Romay, we'll follow up with you by email tomorrow just to offer some clarifying points on what is meant by differentiating.
Yes, and can you tell me that with this, when we're talking about the setback and this 18 inches, is that written up? Is that like a law, or is that just your opinion? I would like to know where that
Yeah, if
regulation.
you could save those questions for staff outside of the meeting. We have several additional cases yet to go through. So
I understand. You can just tell me what the regulation is. That would be great when you email me. That's what I'm looking for.
All right, thank you. Okay, moving on to our next agenda item. We have the Wheaton property at 207 West Seminary Avenue in Lutherville, County Council District Number 3. This is a contributing resource within the Lutherville County Historic District, and the applicants are requesting review for the ex post facto rear yard playhouse construction. So on March 11th, 2025, preservation staff was contacted by a constituent to inquire if a permit had been issued for a small accessory structure that was under active construction in the rear yard. Staff contacted the property owner and instructed them to submit an ex post facto historic review application for the work. A code enforcement notice has not been issued at this time. The applicant is requesting to finish constructing a 10 by 10 raised playhouse. The playhouse sits atop a wooden platform around 6 feet from the ground surface. It has a low pitch shed style roof, and the overall height will be 12 feet and 6 inches. It will have a balcony or porch contained within the current footprint / roof and will be accessed by a set of wood steps leading to the front. There will be 2 window openings, one on the front next to the door and one on the east side facing towards the yard. The finished playhouse would be clad in 19 by 32 inch and 4 foot by 8 feet OC prime siding, and the windows will be American Craftsman 24 inch by 23 inch 50 series sliding windows. Additionally, a small door will be constructed of particle wood / subflooring. The applicant included design plans for the playhouse from Etsy. However, the partially constructed playhouse does not match the plans submitted. The plans show a gable style roof, 8 feet by 8 feet playhouse atop a wood platform 4 feet off the ground with an interior height of 4 feet and 3 inches and an overall height of 12 feet 5 inches. While staff has no issue with the playhouse, they feel that a gable roof would be a better fit aesthetically and make it more viewed as a playhouse instead of a shed. Staff asked the commission to discuss the design differences between the plans and what is built and determine if it is an appropriate choice for the home and historic district, and then approve, modify, or deny accordingly. So staff's recommendation is to vote to approve the request with the condition that the roof be gabled, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 7, Fences and Landscapes, County Code Section 32-7-405. We did receive one letter by the Lutherville Historic Advisory Committee that was circulated to the commission. And we do have the property owner with us tonight if the commission has any questions.
Okay, just a point of information, Chris Parts exited before beginning the presentation on this case.
Thank you, Phoebe.
Just want to make sure you caught that. Okay, so if the property owner is wishes to speak, to add any clarifying information or answer any questions,
No, not particularly. My wife and I are happy to change the roof pitch if that's what's required. We're also happy to put up arborvitae or some other evergreen that would show permanent blockage either from the rear or the front. We proceeded with this without a full understanding, so again, apologies on that front. Trying to give the children, some creativity in the backyard where they can have a good time and use their imaginations. So happy to hear your thoughts and comment if there's anything that you would like to discuss.
Okay, thank you. Do any of the commissioners have any clarifying questions for the applicant? Okay, hearing none, would any commissioner wish to make a motion on the case?
I move we accept it with the staff recommendations.
I'll second that, Chris Weston.
Okay, thank you. Is there any further discussion? So this is to approve with the condition that the roof be gabled as the staff recommended.
May I ask a question?
Sure.
If we need to cut the support beams to allow for that type of gabled roof style. We're maxed out at 15 feet. Is that correct?
Yes. Anything above 15 feet, you would need a height variance.
Okay, just making sure that we can, because we probably need to cut the support beams a little bit, not the main 6x6s, but the structural portion at the top in order to accommodate. So I'm just trying to make sure that the kids, have enough space for their heads as they age to be able to hang out in there. That's my only concern, is that once we do it, and that was our obviously our oversight in sinking the beams deep enough for proper support, that we took up the base of the structure to 5, and to give them the feeling of a treehouse. And then once we realized that the pitch of the gabled roof would take us well above 15, that's when we went with the flat roof approach. So just as an explanation as to why we did that.
We can fix it.
I have 2 comments. One is that I watched my friend build a very elaborate treehouse for his kids, and by the time he was done, they didn't want to play in it.
Fair.
And the second is that you might want to check with zoning, because it may not be the ridge of the roof. It might be the average elevation of the roof, which is in the middle. So.
Oh.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, are there any further questions, comments? If not, then can we have a roll call vote?
Great, thanks, Phoebe. Can we have Wendy, please? Wendy,
Sorry.
are you unmuted?
Sorry.
Great.
Yes.
Thank you, Wendy. Ted?
No.
Okay. John?
Yes.
Okay. Ed?
Yes.
Lily?
Yes.
Raquel?
Yes.
Tom, please.
Yes.
Chris Weston?
Yes.
Dan?
Yes.
And Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you. Alrighty.
Okay, so next up is agenda item 10.
Thank
the
you.
Toll House property.
Great, thank you, Mr. Wheaton. All right. So next we have the Overbrook Farms LLC property at 13822 York Road in Sparks, County Council District number 3. This is final landmarks list number 368, the Toll House, 15 Mile House and setting. And the applicants have returned with requests for various ex post facto exterior alterations. And this is correction notice number CB 250032. So to refresh the commission's memory, the property is a circa 1790 1.5 vernacular frame structure situated on a rubble foundation. It is clad in German siding with a standing seam gable roof. A small one-story random rubble stone kitchen wing was constructed on the west elevation with a flat roof and a large stone chimney. There is a shed roof porch across its front. A rear concrete block 2-story addition was constructed in 1953. Preservation staff was contacted on January 15th, 2025, and informed of exterior work to the Toll House property, including the removal of clapboard siding on the facade. Staff directed the constituent to report the issue online, and we also informed our inspector. Staff was able to get in touch with the property owner, and the applicant has submitted a historic review, again, for the alterations, including the removal of the original clapboard siding on the 1790s Toll House structure, window opening alterations and replacements on the rear concrete block addition, and as well as various repairs and replacements to the Toll House and stone kitchen addition. At its February 12th, 2025 meeting, the commission reviewed the alterations and voted not to approve the work as proposed. The commission asked that the applicant return with the full scope of work with the following address: that wood surfaces be cleaned by the gentlest means possible, repair wood features using recognized wood preservation techniques such as patching with appropriate patching materials, piecing in and consolidation methods. Replacement windows shall match the historic windows in size, profile, light, sash, and other component part configurations, and that information on the stone foundation stabilization. So the applicant has returned to the commission with a new submission to address the comments from the February meeting. Work item 1, wood siding. The existing German siding was removed from the front east elevation and disposed. On May 15th, 2025, preservation staff was notified that the previous Tyvek covering on the facade was removed and new Dutch lap siding was installed. The applicant requests to make repairs to the remaining wood siding and on the other elevations. The application notes that wood surfaces will be scraped, repaired where needed using wood filling techniques, and painted. Surfaces will be cleaned by the gentlest means and prepped for painting. There are also new trim pieces. However, no information was provided on the materials. Work item 2 for the windows. The application notes that the windows in the stone and frame blocks were broken and badly damaged, yet no detailed photos or condition assessments were included with the application. From current photos submitted, it appears that the applicant has replaced the existing windows since the February meeting without prior approval from the LPC. The application notes that the windows are wood replacements, but does not provide the specs, such as if the exterior components are clad, which does not meet our guidelines. On the north side, a 4/4 and 2/2 window were replaced with a 2/2 window. On the front elevation, a new 2/2 window was replaced, a shuttered opening on the gabled end, and there was no information or photo showing what is behind the shuttered opening or information on the size of the opening. More information is needed to determine if this replacement is appropriate. On the front of the stone portion, a 6/6 window was replaced with a 2/2 window. The applicant notes that the windows were replaced in kind. However, the 6/6 window was not. No historic photographs were submitted showing a 2/2 window originally existed in that opening. For the windows on the concrete block addition, work to the 1950s rear block addition included window replacements and altering window openings, as seen in the images provided by the applicant and from a photo from the 2002 Maryland Inventory Form and Google Street View photos. The previously existing windows were diamond pane casement windows on the second story and sash windows on the first story. All windows were replaced on the concrete block addition with new casement and slider windows. However, no information about the door replacements were provided. Work item 3, doors. The applicant requests to replace the existing entry door on the stone portion of the structure with a 9-light wood door. The application noted that this replacement style is to match the existing previous door. However, no images or information on the previous or existing door were provided. So zooming in on one photo shows a door that has a carriage style paneling on the bottom 3/4 and a boarded up portion on the top quarter. So for the door on the concrete block addition, no information was provided on this replacement door. Work 4, the standing seam roof and gutters. The existing standing seam metal roof will be recoated and repainted. If the roof is found to be unsalvageable, the applicant requests to replace it in kind with a new standing seam roof. Additionally, new half-round gutters and downspouts will be installed. For work item 5, the stone foundation, the application notes that the stone foundation is in poor condition with mortar issues. No additional information was provided about its condition or structural issues. The applicant requests to repair existing foundation on the north and west rear wall, and no information on the type of repairs was provided other than repointing with in-kind and color matching. So staff asked the commission to review the proposal, particularly the wood windows and door replacements, and to determine if there is enough information to review adequately. And for our staff recommendations, ask that the LPC again determine if it meets our guidelines, and that staff recommends the following. For work item 1, the siding replacements, staff asked to approve as completed as proposed. For work item 2, windows, staff recommends to approve 3 windows, which are the replacements for the windows on the north elevation and south elevation of the frame section. To deny the replacement on the stone section as it was not replaced in kind, and no evidence was provided that a 2/2 window existed in that opening. In-kind replacement would be a 6/6 window. To deny the replacement in the gable end as more information is needed about the opening that was behind the shutters, and to determine if the replacement is appropriate. To deny the replacements on the concrete block addition as more information is needed about those windows and the previous windows to determine if the replacement is appropriate. For work item 3, doors, deny the door replacement. Again, as more information is needed on the existing door of the stone portion, and no clear photos were provided, and we just can't determine if the proposed replacement door is in kind. For work item 4, gutter and roof, approve as proposed, as these meet our design guidelines. For work item 5, the foundation, to approve with the following conditions: that mortar composition specs be submitted to staff, and that repointing must follow our guidelines and the National Park Service's Preservation Technical Brief number 2, repointing mortar in historic buildings. Citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 2, Windows and Doors, Chapter 3, Roofs, Chapter 4, Exterior Walls and Foundations, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you. Is there any testimony or speakers that wish to speak to this issue?
We did not receive any written testimony or registered speakers, and unfortunately, the property owner, Mr. Rickbird, is not with us tonight.
Okay. So, since the property owner is not with us, would the commissioners wish to speak to the item in order to come to a motion? Comments?
I agree with everything that staff has recommended. With one addition, they've added looks like a fence in place of the railing that was in front of the building. Go back to the street view, if we can. Yeah, one more, 2 more. There we go. That is not acceptable. I mean, it needs to go back looking like it did before. So I would, in addition to all you mentioned, I would add that.
Thank you, Ed. Are there other commissioners that wish to comment upon the staff recommendations or add any additional recommendations before we make a motion?
I would offer I'd offer a friendly amendment to Commissioner Hord's commentary that replace what was there, or if there's any historic evidence for another porch element that you can document through old photographs, because that looks kind of weird too. But
yep, I agree. Good suggestion.
Okay, other comments from the commission?
I wanted to say excellent job in compiling a tremendous amount of information into something that could be easily digested by this group. So kudos to Jessica and Caitlin on that.
Thank you. Thank you, Chris.
And this
Agreed.
applicant is not the easiest to get information from.
And why did the applicant go forward and do all of this work when we asked them to come back and present to us?
I have no idea. He probably thought he had a permit, even though it was never issued. He applied for it, but it was denied, which is why we included that information for you all, just to see in case he was here this evening and had brought that up. So I'm
Also,
not sure.
looks like part of the siding is
Yeah, what is
Yeah,
that?
I've
not
noticed that. I don't
attached.
know what.
I
They,
think that does
it's
not
also
look-
been painted since that color. It's now like a light blue.
Yeah.
So I don't know if that was authorized or not, but
We don't have
anyway.
purview over paint or paint color.
Most of this work was done by him, before any reporting was done. I had several long conversations with him about the procedure, and obviously was totally ignored. And I told him if he did not follow the procedure, that when he did come before the LPC, it would probably be denied. Well, that is what has happened.
So perhaps we can add a friendly reminder in our the communication to him to cease work until there's any approval.
That was done.
Yeah, that's been communicated.
I would report it to enforcement. I mean, he's not stopping. He's going right ahead with this.
Yeah.
I would let enforcement take it over. Maybe that'll get his attention.
Okay.
We can call our inspector.
Okay.
So I have a question. When they do come back with revised work, are we seeking drawings or photographs, dimensions on the windows? What is, because this is a landmark, I just want to understand what we're asking them to do, and also if they go with the mentality that replacing in kind allows them to go ahead with the work, maybe there has to be a very, clear, no, because it's a county landmark, you cannot, replace or do anything without prior approval.
Permission.
Right.
That was conveyed to him several times by different.
Okay.
It just sounds like it needs to be conveyed each and every communication with him.
It has been, and
we appreciate your diligence in that, Jessica and Caitlin, and just reiterating the need to continually do that with every communication with the applicant. It's too bad that he is not here to hear that. So we have a kind of a suggestion, I think, from Ed. It wasn't quite a motion. We've had some discussion.
But I would also make a motion to return to the windows the size that they originally are. So the front window is not, and also the windows on the CMU have lost the brick sill and are smaller in size. So I think there has to be a record of what was there, and then put back the same dimension if that's what we want. Not just the material or my concern is the language that is said back to him might indicate, well, I'm telling you now what these are. Will you approve them? And I don't think that's enough, because if we feel that the size or style of window does not match the existing.
Yes, it sounds like we would like the applicant to submit a plan that describes everything that he intends to do, each of the windows describing the size as well as the replacement materials, and that he has not done that yet, and that he cannot do any work until
And the diamond
it's been reviewed by us and approved. Okay, so Ed, can you take all of these suggestions that we've had? You started the motion. Could you complete the
I'll
motion? And then we
You have
can get a
1 minute,
second and yeah.
I would say with what we want is follow staff recommendations in terms that are in this slide, with the addition of looking at that front railing and removing the fencing material that was put up there. And to come back to us with a set of drawings that clearly describes what they're doing and demonstrating in those drawings that they are matching what was there before. And that they were replacing in kind everywhere in terms of the windows, the size, the mullion configurations, all that needs to be the same.
Thank you, Ed. Is there a second?
Second.
Thank you, John. I heard John first. I think we are ready for a roll call vote. So a vote in this case of yes is to deny the motion, well, I guess it's there some things we're denying and some things we're approving.
Well,
based on staff recommendations. It's to
Yeah, I
follow
just
staff
want
recommendations.
to confirm what the staff recommendation for the windows on, I believe, the north elevation is that included, or are we looking to have everything returned to?
Everything.
Everything.
Okay, thank you.
And add one more thing, and that is this should be referred to enforcement, because he's not listening. He's been told time after time after time, and continuing to tell him time after time after time is not going to do any good.
Yeah, it's been 6 months since the initial correction notice was issued, so code enforcement will at this point continue in the path for
Okay, just to
enforcement.
clarify the motion. So for work item 1, the staff recommendation was to approve replacing the siding as completed and proposed. Work item 2 were the windows, and it sounded like from Ed's motion that we were moving to deny all of them, including the 3 replacement windows on the north elevation. And for work item 3, the doors, deny the door replacements. And for work item 4, roof and gutters, approve as proposed, and then for work item 5, the foundation, approve with the following conditions: mortar composition specs must be submitted to staff.
And follow National Park Service.
Yes.
Yes, yeah.
That's
Okay.
very important because it's falling down.
Okay.
I still second it.
Okay, thank you, John.
And also just a note, because what Jessica said, just to remind you, since this is a code violation case, that technically, since he's here, he has 6 months in order to come back to you guys. If you want to give them a timeline, if you want to be back, we have either July, we don't have an August meeting, to give them a timeline when you want to see them return. If not, if he doesn't come back by that time, we can issue a citation, which is when it would go before the administrative law judge.
Sooner rather than later. I mean, he seems eager to do the work, so maybe he'll be eager to come back with some solution.
Yeah, Ed, would you like to put a timeline on your motion?
I don't know what timeline is reasonable.
So July or I guess the September meeting would be a compromise.
At the latest, come back to at the September meeting.
Yeah, okay.
So do no work until we've approved. Cease all work.
So he could come back in the July meeting if he's
ready.
If he's ready.
Yeah.
Yeah. But otherwise,
yeah, the more time we give him, the more chance.
Yeah, but otherwise we're requiring the September to come back by September, or then it goes to code enforcement.
At the latest.
At the latest.
I think it goes to code enforcement now.
Well, then would you want to have it the July?
I think we can give him, I don't know.
I don't trust him on mine.
No,
I think that's
no.
an unreasonable amount of time to ask him to hire an architect to do a
Yeah,
complete set
I
of
agree.
drawings.
Yeah, so let's go with the
He's a
September.
design build. He does own, he's a
Just don't do
design
any
build
work
firm.
on this.
Yes, I will inform our inspector that he's been doing work that hasn't been approved and let their inspector go out and deal with it.
Okay. So Ed, you have amended your motion to require a September deadline for when he needs to come back to us before it goes to code enforcement.
And I still second.
Thank you. Thank you, John.
Does that mean that all this work has to be done by then?
No,
or-
it means he has to
No
come
work
back
should
to
be
the
done.
LPC with his revised proposal
Plans, okay.
plans
All
by September.
No work may be done until.
And no work may be done until then. If he does
They're
work,
approved,
then
yeah.
then it's a further code enforcement.
What about the approved work, like the roof? That's in staff recommendation.
Well, no
Is he
work
able
that's
to
not
complete
part of
that?
what we're
Okay.
approving.
Okay, just clarifying that.
Yeah, I mean, the roof part that we're approving and the siding, which has already been done.
Gutters.
I would say no more side. I don't trust him to
Well,
do
I
this
mean,
until we have drawings that show how the trim's going to work and
Well,
is it
I'm
matching
also
what's
not
there.
sure that all the siding is, I think he stopped before he did the sides of the building.
So the staff recommendation was to approve the siding replacement as approved, as completed and proposed. So Ed, are you still?
His plan was to, because he already removed the siding on the
Mira.
front, and those would be replacements. And then he's supposed to be repairing the rest on the sides, on the other elevations.
So Ed, are you still comfortable with that?
I didn't hear it. It was interrupted.
We're with this motion, we're approving the siding replacement as completed and proposed. So he could, while we say no work can be done, that doesn't include what we're approving. Anything we've approved, he could continue working on the siding if we approve the siding.
I don't feel comfortable with him doing anything until he has drawings showing us what he's going forward. I think we've approved what he's done, but
So maybe just for work item 1, would you like to amend that to say that we would approve the siding replacement as completed, but not the proposed part?
Yes, what's done is approved, but
For the siding.
Still not comfortable that he's put in the trim. There were no corner trim boards originally, and they're there now. I bow to everyone else. What does everyone else think?
Well,
comfortable? I mean,
I'm not sure how, Caitlin, do you know how far he's gone on the side of the building as far as the siding?
Well, he's supposed to be repairing the remaining siding.
The last we were informed of, it was only the facade that had been completely removed, but our understanding, and I don't know if this is still true, but the remaining German lap on the other sides is still there.
That's what I think, so.
Okay.
I'd like for him to stop. Even the roofing,
Yeah, right.
I know the roofing, I just
So,
think until we
Ed,
get drawings.
it sounds like we may just want to deny the entire application.
Yeah, I think so. Until he comes back with drawings.
If we're not comfortable allowing him to go ahead with the approving the siding replacement as completed or proposed, or with the roof and gutters as proposed, then it sounds like we should just deny the whole thing. So do you want to remove your original motion and then John agreeing to that, and then issue another motion to deny the whole thing?
I think that might make more sense. I think we should deny everything come back to us with drawings that show how he's handling everything from the roof and the roof trim, the trim pieces.
Is the roof stable? I mean, it's not leaking, it's not doing additional damage to the
I
building.
would
That's
say that
information
it
we
was
don't know.
leaking.
I'm sorry, Caitlin, what did you say?
I mean, that's information that we don't know. It wasn't included in the application. So,
I believe there was some leakage when I was there, a year and a
I
half
would have a
ago.
concern about
Yeah,
him on the roof. If we could get the roof done to preserve.
Okay,
And
makes
yeah,
sense.
because it was
Okay.
not in good shape.
So it sounds like the possible motion would be to approve work item 4, roof and gutters as proposed that meet our guidelines and deny everything else.
Yes.
And ask that he come back to us by September with a proposal, or else it's referred to code enforcement.
And I remain constant in my wish to second the motion.
Okay, so Ed, you want to
Right.
confirm that motion?
I confirm that's the motion. I approve.
All right, sounds good. Madam President, may I take a roll vote?
Yes, please.
Great. Wendy, please.
Yes.
Ted,
Yes.
John,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Raquel,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Chris Weston,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you. All right, folks, last one.
Okay.
Okay, so this is agenda item 11, the Gladden property at 508 Subbrook Lane in Pikesville, County Council District 2. This is a contributing resource within the Subbrook Park County Historic District, and the applicants are requesting review for a detached garage construction. So the applicant notes that the property had a previously existing garage that was destroyed by a tree during a storm earlier this year. It was a square footprint wood frame structure with a hip roof on a concrete base. It had carriage style garage doors, cedar shake shingles, and an asphalt shingle roof. The tree has since been removed along with the debris from the roof and walls. Just to note to the commission that the previously existing garage was removed without review by the LPC, as the photos show significant damage to the full structure, but in this situation, it would not be considered a code violation. So the applicant is requesting to construct a new 1.5 story, 22-foot by 24-foot detached 2-car garage with a height of 19 feet and 9.5 inches. The new garage will be located in the same general location as the previous one, however, moved over slightly to mitigate the tree stump. The existing concrete base is to be entirely removed, and a new concrete or masonry foundation and floor structure is proposed. The new garage will have a gabled roof covering in architectural shingles, and a gabled dormer is centered on the main roof slope. The proposed siding is an engineered rigid PVC shingle, and modern garage doors in a carriage style are proposed on the front elevation. The west side elevation will have a single entry door and a window, and the gable end window. On the rear elevation, there will be 2 evenly spaced windows. And on the east side elevation, there is 1 off-center window and a gable window. The exterior trim will be painted composite, while minor modifications to the asphalt driveway will be made for properly sloped access to the vehicle door. A concrete stoop will provide access to the side entry door, and exterior colors will complement the existing color scheme of the main house. Staff asked the commission to discuss the project, particularly the use of PVC shingle versus a hardy shingle, and clarify the style of windows being proposed. The plans show 1/1, but the image from the materials list shows a 6/6. Staff suggests a 6/1 style to tie in details from the previously existing garage. And so depending on the use or size of I'm so sorry, I'm jumping around. So staff's recommendation is to vote to approve the proposal with the conditions that 1, a cementous shingle like Hardy or similar product be used instead of the PVC, and 2, that the window style be a 6/1 style, citing Baltimore County Historic Design Guidelines, Chapter 6, New Construction Addition and Net Contributing Resources, County Code Section 32-7-405.
Thank you. Is there any testimony or speakers signed up for this case?
We do not have any for this property. However, we do have the property owners, Mr. and Mrs. Gladden on, and Mr. and Mrs. Gladden, send you a unmute request if you'd like to say anything.
Yeah, and apologies if you hear any background noise. Our toddlers are a little bit tired at this point, but yeah, we just wanted to say that we tried to have like a design that was in keeping with the neighborhood. We kind of walked around our neighborhood to see what other people's looked like, because we knew we weren't going to be able to exactly mimic what we had. It was obviously very disappointing to have a huge tree land on our garage, but with replacing it, we're hoping to, you know, still fit in with the house and the historic look of the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Do the commissioners have any clarifying questions for the applicant?
I have a question. This is Lily Mundroff. Is the are you limited to a 15-foot height for the garage? And I'm just curious why you're not matching the existing roof of the original garage, in that it's kind of a smaller, more in line with what was there historically.
Our architect is on the call as well and might be able to answer the 15-foot question a little bit better than me. I'm not exactly sure. His name is Jamie.
Oh, great. Sure. Let's see. Okay, I'm just trying to find our participants.
There's only, that's Jamie.
Yes, okay. So, yes. Mr. Jamie.
Thank you. I was trying to raise my hand when you missed me. Thanks for seeing us tonight. And first of all, I would say that I think we're totally fine with the hardy plank and with the window style. As far as the roof height goes, we'll need to verify that as we go into through zoning. It could be that it's an issue, but the reason why the roof is different is one, even though it's the garage was destroyed and we have to rebuild it. I'd like to get a little more out of it if possible, and the gable shape allows for that, and it's easier to build with trusses than to have to stick frame a full gable roof all around. And get some a little bit more storage that could use, if possible. If our height issues get in the way, we'll have to rethink that.
Also, the doors, they're described as carriage doors, but the drawings are different from the specs. So I'm just curious, are they overhead doors or carriage open?
These are overhead doors, but in a carriage door style to match the look. But the photograph is the more accurate, is the actual proposed door. The drawing kind of
Okay.
looks kind of original. So
Okay.
it's an overhead door carriage style.
Lily, I agree with you. I think it was such an elegant garage with the hip roof. I would urge them to try to keep it. I think we ought to ask for it, but you're not getting that much storage out of it anyway. And you can get trusses that make hips. I did it in my house.
Any other commissioner comments, questions before we move on to a motion? Okay, hearing none, I would entertain a motion So the options are to approve as proposed, approve with some conditions, or deny.
I'll make a motion. I make a motion that we deny the building as submitted, but accept a building with a hipped roof, windows that match the original, and carriage type overhead doors, and that we don't need to review this drawing again, that staff can approve it based on those conditions.
Front thing that you push forward.
Thank you, Chris. Is there a second?
Which one is it?
What happens to the dormer? Would we deny the dormer then if it's a hip roof?
I could go either way on that. How do you feel about it?
We would most likely not do a dormer with the full hip roof.
Okay, that's great.
So we need a second.
I second.
I'll second.
I heard Lily. Okay. Any further discussion? If not, then
I left out
Okay.
hardy shingles. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say.
Yeah,
Did we
sorry
have the
about that.
material for
okay. So Lily, are
shingles?
you agreeing to the hardy shingled requirement?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay. Staff, are you clear on the motion, or do we want Chris to repeat it?
Oh, I think, yeah. go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, so it just seems to me that is a conditional approval with the condition that it be a hipped roof, windows that match the original, and then using the hardy instead of the PVC shingle, and then that they have to submit the designs to staff prior.
Right. Our goal would be to put it back as much as it was originally.
Yeah. So Chris, are you comfortable with Caitlin's suggestion that we approve with all of your conditions?
I wanted to go back to Caitlin and Jessica to look at.
That was included in the
Yes.
conditions, was that
yes.
it would go to staff for review. Yeah, that's a condition. So Lily, are you also comfortable seconding that motion?
Yes. Yes.
Great. Okay, so a vote for yes would be to approve the request with the conditions that it be the hip roof. Let's see, the windows.
Hardy
shingles.
shingles.
Hardy shingles.
The overhead doors got to look like carriage doors, and the windows we want to look like they were originally, whatever that spacing was.
And that it go before staff for review.
Yep.
6/1
design.
style.
For approval, right?
For approval. Okay, great. Thank you. So we ready for a roll call vote?
Great, thanks. Have Wendy, please.
Yes.
Ted,
Yes, sorry.
you're fine. John,
Yes.
Ed,
Yes.
Lily,
Yes.
Raquel,
Yes.
Tom,
Yes.
Chris,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
and Phoebe, please.
Yes.
Great, thank you. And thank you to the Gladdens for waiting out this very long meeting.
Thank you. I actually have one quick question. So staff approval as opposed to coming back and just be on the consent calendar, is that correct? So we could.
Oh, no, you can just email those updates to
Okay.
us and it'll be fine. You don't have to come back before the commission.
Super, thank you.
Great, thank you.
Okay, if staff could present the Maryland Historic Trust and tax credit applications.
Great. We just had two come in. So the first is for the Schlossberg property at 814 Kingston Road in Towson. This is a contributing resource within the Stoneleigh National Register Historic District, and the applicants received a Part 2 emergency approval for a new AC unit. And then we had the Miller property at 100 Fairfield Drive in Catonsville. This was a contributing resource within the Central Catonsville and Summit Park National Register Historic District, and they received approval for an amendment to their Part 2 application for interior wall and ceiling repairs.
Okay, thank you. Is there any other business?
No, next meeting is July 10th. And just a reminder, we don't have a meeting in August.
Okay, thank you. So then I think we are able to entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Thank you. Is that Dan?
Tom.
Tom. Okay, Tom. And we need a second and a vote. Roll a voice vote.
Second.
Great. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Great. Then so see you in July. Thank you.
Thank you all.
Thank you,
Bye,
Jessica.
everyone.
Thank you. Have a good night.